You are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast. I'm Don, able to take on Twitter, talking today some Auburn athletics news. As got a lot of good news to talk about, which I don't know. I kind of shifted up my. It doesn't look any different really on y'all's end. Looks different on my end. Happy New Year, by the way. Over here to my left, I now have a TV placed where I am currently watching the Rose Bowl and laughing my butt off. Shout out Indiana in the back as well. Great day. Greatest day of the year already that Alabama is currently losing by quick math, 35 to Indiana. Greatest headline of the history. Shout out Fernando Mendoza, the rightful Heisman winner and the soon-to-be national champs, Indiana. It's absolute phenomenal day. But today we're going to be focusing on Auburn football for the most part, and I'll just be updating anyone on the score as it goes along. Again, 38-3 with 6:43 left to go in the game. It's just going to run on repeat the whole time. Happy New Year's again to everybody else. So just starting us off with some news before we get into the New Year's resolutions for Auburn football going into the 2026 season. So currently, we have a couple new portal additions. They're going to be entering. Auburn is now up to 30 with Dylan Senda, a depth piece on the defensive line or offensive line, going to the portal. And then most recently, a 2025 commit and Sam Turner announcing his intentions as well. So that's a very solid freshman wide receiver entering the portal as well, which again, this is the new era of college football. This is going to happen, and this has been happening for a while. Of course, we talked about in the last episode with Cam Coleman and Deuce Knight transfers out, Sam Turner and Dylan Senda as well. So, but with the bad news, there also are a fair amount of good news talking about the portal. As we talked about when it happened, Xavier Atkins announced his return to the Plains, and he's not the only linebacker doing so. DeMarcus Riddick and Elijah Melendez have also announced their intentions to return to Auburn as well and helping beefing up a DJ Durkin-led defense yet again. And, of course, Malik Autry and Jordan Crawford coming back to help cement an interior defensive line that is going to be a heavy talking point going into this portal cycle, which starts tomorrow, which is going to be absolutely insane. It's going to be absolutely crazy. We'll talk about more in just a second. And again, Alabama now going for it on 4th and 4 on the Indiana 27-yard line. And sacked. Fumble, actually. A fumble on the play. Indiana now has the football with 5:40 left to go. Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny. You can call me corny if you want. It's a hate watch. War Eagle G27, hard for Bama to watch that game after what they said. Oh, we beat Auburn well. They lost the Jordan-Hare championship game with a butt whooping. This is beautiful, though. I agree with your comment. This is absolutely beautiful. I want to watch more of this. This is the game of the year right now. Game of the century caliber right here. In other news, Bobby Travis has officially announced his intentions to declare for the NFL draft as well, which, again, already knew that. He accepted an invite to a senior bowl. So, of course, he's going to get he now declared, but regardless, it was already pretty much official earlier on. All right, so as we get to the Meat Potatoes Days episode, talking about the New Year's resolutions for Auburn football in 2026, I'm setting the bar kind of low because it's been a hot minute since we've been able to enjoy a winning football season for Auburn football. Of course, it's been since 2019 since Auburn's had one, and that's 6 seasons worth. So that's absolutely awful, especially for a program that is top 15 all time. So just getting into it, when I talk about the bar being set low, I want a drama-less offseason post the transfer portal cycle. Of course, transfer portal automatically always brings in drama, but I just want this offseason through the spring and the summer and the fall workouts right up till the kickoff of the first game of the season. I would love it if Auburn was not in any headlines whatsoever. Good, hopefully yes, but bad, hopefully not. I just love it because there was that 1 week last year where Auburn was all over the news for all the wrong reasons, and I just don't want it to happen again. New Year's resolution right there. No drama. please, I know you can't spell Auburn without drama, but for the love of everything holy, let's try to have one off season without anything on it going on. Number 4, and again, this is kind of a goal I've already set in stone that I think Auburn is going to do this, but talking about that being the post cycle, during the cycle, I want Auburn to bring the number 1 transfer portal class. Of course, with Cam Coleman and Deuce Knight entering the portal and potentially not coming back, we just kind of leave it up in the air for that. Of course, that there's always the possibility of guys coming back from the portal and coming back to the Plains. I just want to test out the new trend of college football. I think the number 1 portal class is completely in sight for Auburn. Of course, that's a lot of money freed up in NIL. And again, Auburn is a school and a program and a fan base that can recruit itself. People want to play in Jordan-Hare. Again, it's even just coming to the SEC. People always respect Jordan-Hare Stadium because of what it brings to college football. So I think number 1 in the transfer portal isn't that crazy of an ask going forward. I mean, there's a lot of positions you have to touch on. I mean, again, defensive line, O-line, quarterback, wide receiver. You might need a couple of running backs, but regardless, I mean, you have a lot of positions that you need to fill up with talent. Again, it's great to build up through recruiting high schoolers, but you can't build a whole roster out of them. You gotta bring in the transfers and have them do some of the grunt work as these high schoolers start to develop going forward. So I think the number 1 transfer class isn't too much of an ask now that I think Auburn has the funds to really bring in that kind of talent again. And again, if you're trying to just move on from the guys who've already announced they're going to be moving on, you got room to make it happen. So number 1 transfer portal class is on my sights for Auburn in this portal cycle. And Indiana's now about to cross the 50-yard line. Again, if they put up 40 on Alabama, this would be so funny. And as we move on, get some of y'all's comments before we get to number 3. SEC run over Big Ten, about to run college football for years to come. I don't believe that fully. I think the Big Ten has had it a good couple of years here. I don't even think Michigan was the best team in the country whenever they won the championship. I just think they just screwed Georgia over that year. But we'll see what Indiana can do next year. See if they can bring in some more talent. Dylan, do you think Golesh giving that $30 million in 3 different ways, like defense players for Durkin as defense side of the staff, $10 million and $10 million to Gordon for offensive players, and $10 million for special teams coach to get that special teams? I mean, I would probably imagine the offense needs a lot more love than the defense does, and more ways than none, because you have to build up a whole offensive line now. You're losing your entire line. So a lot of money's going to go to that. You have to recruit those wide receiver talents just around the country. Running back, you need to bring in a couple of quarterbacks. You have to bring in at least 2 quarterbacks in the portal. Same way you had to do last year. You got to bring in 2 quarterbacks because you have to have at least 2 good ones to compete in any level of college football. But yeah, I'm not sure how exactly they're going to divvy it up. I would imagine $10 million would not go to special teams because if really you're bringing in a punt, you might, I don't even know, John L. McGuire might be it. So if he stays along with Auburn, I think you give him the keys and see what the special teams coach can do with him. I don't think you're spending $10 million on the special teams unit in totality. So I think more of the money is going to go to the offense just because you need more help there. And the defense will get probably a good chunk as well, just kind of fill in some gaps there. You have a lot of young guys that this coaching staff is going to really enjoy coaching up and developing over the course of this offseason. Michael Scusiano, make the playoffs is a must next year. Next year is in 2027 or must is in this season? That's a good question for you because I don't know if playoffs is in the cards this season, at least because, again, we don't have a roster yet, so I can't really make that bold of a claim. But what I can say is my number 3, playoffs is one thing. Reclaiming the atmosphere of Jordan-Hare Stadium is a whole other thing. Auburn has not been able to win big games in Jordan-Hare Stadium in so long. The fans deserve better. The media crew deserves better for the light shows they're putting on, for the stereo system in there, all the stuff to keep adding to the stadium, and the football team just cannot get it done when it matters the most in those games. So My New Year's resolution for Auburn football, my third one at least, is for Auburn to reclaim the home field advantage that they once had just a few years ago. Again, Jordan-Hare Stadium is a big environment. It is one of the best environments in college football, and Auburn has been unable to win big games in it for a long time, and frankly, it's annoying. But I think it's a good New Year's resolution to have, is at least trying to get like a winning record at home against P4 opponents. Like throw a Mercer game out the window. Throw who's the G5 opponent? It's Jack State, which I mean that's going to be a pretty big win in of itself next year if Auburn can pull that one off. But it's all over the place. I mean, you cannot just rely on having the G5 or FCS games to bolster your winning record at home. You need to start winning the bigger games. Like you need to start winning games versus Vanderbilt and Arkansas and games like that. Like you cannot be losing games like that at home so frequently to where it just feels like you aren't able to win in your own stadium. Home field used to mean something in Auburn, Alabama. It has not in quite a long time, which is what happens when you hire two not so good coaches. So that's my number 3 on the list, is reclaiming Jordan-Hare Stadium. Try to say 2-minute warning now for Indiana. I think Fernando Mendoza is now out of the game. So that's funny. As I go to the comments for a second, nothing yet. So number 2 on my list, and again, this has been a pattern over the past few years, and I would like it to stop this season. I want you to go through one entire season, at least 12 games worth, where you only have one starting quarterback across those games. Again, Auburn had, 3 this year? And again, Deuce Knight started from Mercer. There's a whole other can of worms that I don't really know if I want to even count it just because it was the Mercer game. But they had 2 this year with Ashton Daniels and Jackson Arnold. Last year, you had Peyton Thorne and Hank Brown. The year before that, you had Robbie Ashford and Peyton Thorne. The year before that, you had, good Lord, it just gets messy as you go down the line. But I think it'd be big time for Auburn to finally just have one season where you got one quarterback. Again, something I don't think has happened since 2020. I'm not talking, I'm thinking injuries aside for this at least. 2020, Auburn had Bo Nix, and then he got hurt, and then TJ Finley took over. 2019, you only had Bo Nix. 2018, you had Jarrett Stidham. 2017, you had Jarrett Stidham. 2016, you had a mess. 2015, you had a mess. 2014, you had Nick Marshall. 2013, you had all the good season we're talking about here. Auburn had one continuous quarterback throughout that entire 12-game stretch. Teams aren't winning games by just flip-flopping across the, you're not just changing quarterbacks every so often. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. I fully believe that to be truthful. And as I'm looking over to my left, my peripheral, Indiana has knelt the ball and is going to walk out of the Rose Bowl with a 38-3 win over Alabama. I cannot not say it with a big old grin on my face. Shout out Fernando Mendoza and shout out Signetti as well. That's just chef's kiss, man. That is beautiful. That is just so beautiful. Sadly, I don't think we're going to get the trifecta for tonight. I do not believe that Ole Miss can take down Georgia. But regardless, beautiful over there. But as I was saying, you got to have one quarterback. You can't have, and I believe Alex Golesh's offense, I mean, if he brings in Byron Brown is his dude. That guy, he can run his offense, and we know he can. We've seen him do it. 3,000 yards passing, 1,000 yards rushing. Nothing to bat your eye over. I don't care what level college football is, and that is absolutely phenomenal to do that. And again, Byron Brown, you bring in a guy to back him up, and again, barring an injury, knock on wood, you should only have Byron Brown being your starting quarterback all season long. And I think if Auburn can do that, it shows, development and growth towards what you're wanting to do in the future. And you're not just flipping a coin onto who you're starting the next week. So I think that'll solve a lot of Auburn's issues going into the season, is to find one, determine that one, and stick with that one. And again, you can't predict what's going to happen throughout the year. Again, if something drastic happens and maybe he's just not prepared for the game, then you talk about making the switch. But again, when it's every single week is a contemplation of who's going to start at quarterback for you, good Lord, it can't happen. It just can't happen. So find a guy, stick with that guy. Every single one of these teams that have played in the college football playoff this year, I cannot tell you, I'm sure I can tell you all of them. All of them stuck with their guy all season long. Ohio State was saying, Fernando Mendoza, Indiana, Ty Simpson, Alabama, Gunnar Stockton in Georgia. And again, Ole Miss is the outlier there. Ole Miss is the only outlier there. Every other team in the playoffs had one starting quarterback all season long, not counting injuries. Like again, Trinidad Chambliss was better than, I forgot his name. It started last year for almost beat Georgia himself. But one quarterback is all you need. All right, and then rounding out my number one on my Auburn New Year's resolution list for the football team. Again, you mentioned the playoffs earlier. I talked about winning record at home, and again, setting the bar so very low. I feel like 6 or more wins. I just want to be able to purchase tickets to a bowl game in December. That's all I want to do. That's something I've not been able to do since 2020 is the last time Auburn made a bowl game, or 2021 last time Auburn made a bowl game. I think 2021. It was the Birmingham Bowl. I think 6 or more wins is perfectly fine for Auburn to hit in the first season of a coach, especially with it being Alex Golesh and just kind of doing a complete roster overhaul. And again, if you bring in like this superb amount of talent and you can do what you want to do in year one, sure, shoot for 18-0. That's fine with me. But right now, I'm setting my bar so low that I would be very shocked if I'm disappointed again. So yeah, I think 6 wins is a fine balance to hit. I'm going to stick with 6 wins. And believe me, if we get 7 wins, I'll live stream and we'll have a party in here. I'll bring cake and snacks for everybody. We'll party for 7 wins. But yeah, that's just my resolutions for the year. Of course, leave me yours in the comment section below. Of course, some people are saying playoffs. You can have playoffs. Playoffs are perfectly fine. I'm not going to be upset with you saying you want to go to the playoffs next year. I'm just going to try to be more realistic about it, because I think if Golesh is going to bring Auburn to the playoffs, he's going to need year 2, 3, and 4. That's what he said. At least for decision-making wise, getting better as the year after year 2. So I'm going to, year 1, I always give a mulligan to and try to see what you can do in year 1, and then we'll build expectations going forward. That's the Auburn way. From at least my experience of it, is give the guy 1 year and then you judge him harshly on the second year. That's the Auburn way. But yeah, I think 6 wins is fine. I think that's going to probably be the betting odds for Auburn is about, it's going to be 5.5. I kind of feel like, kind of depending on what the roster looks like. But year 2, I would say go up probably 8 wins. And then after that, we'll kind of see where Auburn goes from there. Or even 7 wins. Kind of just depends on how Auburn looks this year. But again, let me just see comments below. What are your New Year's resolutions in general? What are your New Year's resolutions for Auburn football? What do you want to see from Alex Golesh going forward? Yeah, transfer portal starts tomorrow. And then on the Sunday edition of College Loop, we'll be recapping at least halfway through what's going on in the transfer portal for Auburn. Hopefully at that point we have a good chunk of players flipped over to Auburn. And again, it'll be very interesting to see exactly who on the 30-person list might be back for Auburn next season. So we'll just kind of see in the comments below. Again, I've never blamed the coaches for players leaving. I don't think that's kind of right to do that. It's just college football. Players want to enter the portal. And again, if it's Golesh running to run his offense and these players don't fit, they're so talented and it just kind of drawing close to them, don't matter the coaches for that. If he's not a fit for the offense, he's not fit for the offense. A talented player in the wrong offense is going to look bad. And then again, so if he says he's not a fit for the team, he's not a fit for the team. Just let him go. Put your trust in Golesh, and we'll be fine. We'll be nice and peachy as we get ready for the season to get close. So we're going to quick little break. Let's have this break to some Auburn basketball, getting ready for their SEC season or SEC opener on Saturday, taking on Georgia and Athens. So stay tuned. We're going to be right back.
Are you tired of having to rummage through just clothes after clothes after clothes looking for something to wear? Are you tired of your friends making fun of you for your terrible fashion sense? Well, do we have the shirt for you? Go to thewarreport.com, get your laptop out and do it right now. Go to the shop and get your very own Feelin' Loopy t-shirt as well as your college loop hat, and you can get both of them for only $25 each. plus shipping and handling, of course. But with that, now back to your regular scheduled program.
Get that merchantreport.com today. Of course, it's One Way Sports Channel. Of course, the best way sports channel. Of course, by liking the video, commenting on the video, let me know what your New Year's resolutions are for Auburn or for Auburn football going forward. Let me know what your resolutions are just for Auburn in general. Auburn basketball, baseball, softball, women's basketball, all those sports. Gymnastics getting ready to start up very soon. Super stoked to see what they're going to do this season. Where are you going tonight? G7? Are you going to watch the Ole Miss Georgia game? I'll probably have it on. But I probably won't be. I probably won't be live in 40 minutes. So I think I'll probably just be watching it while I eat pizza on the couch. I was going live today, and the Alabama game just happened to be on when it happened. But always gonna root for the team playing Alabama. So as we get ready for SEC conference play for Auburn basketball, I just want to shout out Auburn women's basketball getting ready to take on their first opponent of the season tonight. At 6:30, so in about 9 minutes, taking on Mississippi State. Be a first or another big test for Coach Vic and company, taking on the 13-1 Mississippi State Bulldogs. Again, Mississippi State a heavy favorite. Auburn has been pretty good throughout the year. They're fighting tough again every single one of these wins they've gotten. So super stoked to see Auburn women's basketball getting some big time wins. Just I don't know. Again. Mulligan year for first-year coach, but I think Vickers definitely the guy for Auburn going forward. Got a tough stretch of games up ahead for women's basketball too. A lot of numbers on these teams next to them, but we get ready for Auburn men's basketball. 9-4 right now, taking 4 very tough losses against those 4 possibly Final Four teams going into into March Madness. Georgia right now, number 23 in the nation, 12-1. And I can't lie to you, Georgia hadn't really played anybody of note. I mean, they've beaten Florida State, who's not a very good team, and they lost in overtime to Clemson. Everybody else outside of Cincinnati and Georgia Tech are G6 and lower. Xavier, I guess, is a pretty decent win. But other than that, I mean, there's not a lot of big names on this list that Georgia has beaten. So, I think if Auburn can, play their best brand of basketball they can, I think they'll come out with a win. Again, this being in Athens, this is a tough environment to play in. It's going to be at noon. And again, segment and just what Georgia has kind of started to mold into, not something to bat your eyes over. I think if you get a good game out of Keyshawn Hall, again, scoring very well, he's averaging 20. He's almost averaging a double-double. Leading Auburn in rebounds as well. I think Keyshawn Hall is going to be the key to Auburn this game, as well as to Todd Pettiford. Just kind of making sure that the game is well-rounded. Defense is what Auburn needs in this game. Again, Georgia can score with the best of them. They have 3 players right now averaging double digits. They have 3 guards who are averaging that. They're also all shooting 30% or better from the three-point line. The highest 36.2, lowest 32.4. So I say pretty decent margin there. You just got to find a way to shut them down. Again, Auburn is lacking a big part of basketball, which is height. So if Auburn can find a way to kind of combat that and find ways around it, again, losing Amika Opram to an illness sucks. Keyshawn Murphy is going to be big time. You're going to have to get him in the paint. He's going to have to become more physical in SEC play. And again, we've seen him in that before. He was at Mississippi State for a while. Georgia has a 6'11" center who's currently 9 and 6 right now, 9 points and 6 rebounds. I'm not even going to try to say his name because I just don't think I can. So I think if Auburn can find ways to spread the ball out and defensively get stops, I think they'll be good. Again, guarding the perimeter is going to be big time in this one. Overton's going to be, just guard play with Overton and Sebastian William Adams. Just got to get back to playing your brand of basketball. Again, Auburn is a battle-tested team. Again, you've played the toughest non-con in the schedule in the country. I don't think there's a single team that has played a tougher schedule than Auburn has. And if they are, I don't know if they have as good of a record as Auburn has right now. So 9-4 is not where you really wanted to be, but I don't think it's a bad place to be right now for Auburn basketball. You knew it was going to be tough going into the season. Again, this team is not last year's team where your strength was your front court with Dylan Cardwell and Janai Broom, Janai Broom's tearing it up in the G League. Dylan Cardwell is leading all rookies in blocks. So that's crazy. In the NBA, not the G League, which not on my bingo card, but shout out Dylan Cardwell, Mr. Auburn himself. You don't have that this year. So trying to find a way around that again after this game, it doesn't get much easier for you. Again, I don't think Georgia's a great team. Again, they're ranked, but I don't think they're rightfully ranked. So again, Auburn going forward. Georgia's favored in this game, just by the FPI. After this one, again, you have A&M, and then you have Arkansas, who is also ranked as well, in just 3 days after that. But I think I'm going to give Auburn a very, very close win over Georgia. Score-wise, I'm not sure exactly where to go with it. I mean, I'm thinking like 64-62, something like that. I think it's going to be a gross game. I think it's going to be low scoring. I think Auburn can defensively get it done and just find ways to, shut down Georgia. Again, there's going to be a lot of factors in this one. I mentioned Keyshawn Hall and Todd Pettiford and Overton and Murphy. You're going to need big games out of Elijah Freeman too. Again, Simon Walker's going to have to drain some threes. You're going to need some big-time buckets from some big-time players or players waiting to make their big-time moves. So I'm thinking 64-62. And again, if I wanted to change, it'd be 74-72. It would be a little higher, but it'd still be that 2-point deficit right there. I think Auburn starts off SEC play with a ranked win, and I think it boosts a lot of confidence going forward. Again, A&M is going to be a tough one. Again, they lost the buzzsaw, so that's a bright side looking forward for Auburn. But after that, I mean, Arkansas, and then just a couple of short weeks, you got Florida, and of course Tennessee, Alabama, and Vanderbilt all on a 3-game stretch down the season. So yeah, Vanderbilt's a very good team. I was kind of shocked that Vanderbilt's turning into a powerhouse that they kind of are right now. But yeah, I'm going to go with the close win over Georgia for Auburn to start off SEC play. I would love to give the win to Auburn women's basketball, but right now I'm just not sure of it. I just have to see how this game plays out for them. But yeah, Auburn men's basketball starting off SEC play with a win in Athens. So we're going to go ahead and get on out of here. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to Summit College Podcast. Shout out Indiana. I don't know what exactly their war cry is, but I put a hat back here strictly out of respect for Indiana. I'll probably keep it right there. I could put an Ole Miss one back there, but I'm not going to do that. I don't like Ole Miss either. But yeah, hopefully they win tonight. So just to complete the last Infinity Stone happening, with Alabama, Ohio State, and then hopefully Georgia after that. Just purely hate watches going on around the country right now. So we're going to get out of here. I also forgot Iowa as well for beating Vanderbilt. Shout out Iowa. With that being said, thanks for tuning in to the Summit College Podcast yet again. Of course, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on the video. Let me know what your New Year's resolutions are for Auburn football in the first year of the Alex Golesh era and the year of our Lord 2026. Again, Happy New Year to all. Sadly, school's starting back soon, so we won't be doing weekly live streams every week. I'll try to do it whenever I can. If not, they'll go up on 8:30 on every Tuesday and Thursday. Again, Sunday live streams still going to remain the same. But thank everyone for tuning in to the Summit College Podcast yet again. Follow social media platform, every single one of them: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, the works, or the College Loop. Again, if I said that too fast, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, the works, all those at the College Loop. New Year's resolution for the College Loop is to post more on social media. And again, we'll probably start that tomorrow with the transfer portal, which is going to be absolutely insane. Expecting Auburn to get the #1 portal class in the country. That is my prediction and my resolution and whatever else language I can put into that regard. So thank you everyone tuning in to Auburn Country Podcast yet again. And as always, I'm trying to find the overlay. There it is. And as always, war